Welcome, everybody, to the Awaken Sober Podcast. It's a podcast about life and recovery through Christ. Thank you all for joining us. Remember, you can like, share, subscribe. We're on every podcast platform out there. Can't wait to hear from you guys. So what's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. What's going on with you, Derek?
I'm doing just fine. I'm feeling good today. Had a good day.
You know, the thing is, we still get to mention tactile turn. We just don't get to mention the discount. Yeah. And we're going to take it away for a little while and then have people, we're going to get an affiliate link so people could start using that instead for a little while, which will help us. But yeah, tactile turn. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for sending the care package they did today.
I can't wait to see it.
It's fabulous. And then what do you got?
Always got one on me.
Mm-hmm.
Always carrying it. Got to have it. Tactile turn. It writes the best.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like it's really not about what's inside of it. Because what's inside of it is just like any other pen. You can put whatever you want in there. That's what's cool. But
yeah,
the craftsmanship on the outside, like wait until you guys play with your Zerk. That Zerk is just so lovely.
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous getting brand new Zerk pens, and I traded for mine. How messed up is that?
You should have some decent patina on it, though.
Dude, I've been searching for anything Zerk. Back when I was doing those shows, those things on Facebook, the Facebook groups, man, the different nucks and coins. I mean, Zerk, I was on it.
Yeah.
I like Zerk.
Problem is, it's so expensive.
It is. It is.
Super expensive. So what are we talking about today, Derek?
It's February.
It is.
Step 2.
Step 2.
Yes.
Step 2, Mike?
Hi, I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Step 2.
I thought you were going to finish that. So that way we could say hi, Mike, but...
Here I am. I'm doing well, by the way.
We could go back to that.
Yeah, we can. Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That big word, sanity.
And then step 2 in Celebrate Recovery says we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Pretty darn similar.
Yes.
There's not much difference between our steps, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So,
But the only real difference is ours is
life and will.
and it's God as it is a God of their own understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Ours is Jesus.
Yes.
Is our higher power. And then life and will in one of the steps. That's really your biggest differences in the whole program. But let's go back to it. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing really well. Man, you know, we talked about how is your soul last week, and it was really, really nice because I felt like I was coming out of that, you know, that doldrum, right? There's that word again.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's those big words.
But that downswing, you know, and, you know, with the weather getting nicer, seasonal depression is a real thing, so I'm kind of coming out of it. Got to play golf on Sunday. It was cold, but it was still better than work. So you know, I get to do what I love. But yeah, no, work's going great. I'm finding my groove finally after being out of it for a little while. Been back in it for about 6 weeks, 6 weeks. I know, right?
You said about time.
Yeah.
You didn't accidentally say that. It's okay.
No, that was totally on purpose.
Does it feel good to be back on the clinical side?
Absolutely, man.
Good.
Being able to help people desperate for recovery, and that's something that I missed and something that I was lacking. Not only for them, but for my own self and self-esteem and self-worth. You know, I got into counseling and recovery because I wanted to help. I wanted to give back.
Yeah.
You know, I went to a different position to where I was still helping the facility, but I wasn't helping the people that were still suffering. In ways I was, don't get me wrong, but not face to face.
Not like you are now.
Not like I am now. No, but I legitimately, I love what I do. I got a 11-person caseload, so I'm running and gunning again.
Gotta love those big caseloads, man.
Yeah, it's busy, but it's not chaotic, if that makes sense.
No, very much so.
When I was a CPS, it was, you know, crisis after crisis after crisis. Now it's like, okay, I got to meet 3 clients, sometimes 4 a day. It's fine.
Yeah, it can be, but then you start getting that caseload of 15 and 17 and 20, and then that chaos ensues.
Yep.
One thing I learned, though, is like, yeah, they may spend 20, 30 minutes in my office, but throughout the week, guaranteed I spoke to those individuals at least hour to hour and 45 minutes a
easy.
week.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the office.
Yeah.
Where they're seem to be more comfortable and more ready to open up about stuff, you know? And it's really interesting. Yeah. So, what, that dude was only in your office for 20 minutes. What kind of work did you do? Yeah, it may have been 20 minutes today, but I just talked with him 10 minutes outside and got a lot to send from, you know, and things like that. So that's the one thing I don't like about this position is I don't recognize anybody in there right now.
Yeah.
And I usually know everybody. I could look at somebody's face and know exactly who they are. And now it's like, who are you again?
Yeah, that recollection took a little while to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be even longer for you.
Seems that way.
Well, I mean, you got news the other day about your position, correct? You get to stay home more?
Yes, I was actually told I need to stay home more. And one of my issues that I was having with the position was I knew I could work from home, and I wasn't sure what days, you know, and I would just stay home and work, and I'd be worried, you know, what is going to happen that I stayed home that day.
Yeah.
But now I'm being told, no, you come in on this day, and then the rest of the week, you stay home. Okay.
Deal.
Right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard. So that's what I'm
sure.
saying. You're going to have a harder time recognizing people if you
I'm
get to
never
stay
there.
home more.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's bad enough I never got to leave my office, but now I just don't go into the office. So I'll recognize you. If I happen to see you on a Monday passing you when I'm going to eat lunch, I might recognize you.
And I honestly think it'll be better for you, too, because you're not surrounded by that
urge to want to go out and talk to people.
Well, that and that just the chaos that goes, you know, people in and out of the office, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you know. You can actually focus more on the task at hand, which I think will be beneficial.
Yes.
Shane, how's your soul? How you doing?
Man, I am extremely well. I don't know how else to put it. It is well with my soul. I took my mom to the psychiatrist today, which was fun, and then all of a sudden, the psychiatrist comes out and hands me a bag of goodies, right? Nothing better than a bag of goodies from the psychiatrist.
Proper medications, y'all.
From
a professional.
A bag of goodies, and it was my medicine. So that way I could go back to once a day instead of every other day, right? She gave me the 3 milligrams. Now I'm back to the 1.5 milligram. And I'm like, because I want that consistency every day instead of every other day.
Routine.
Yeah, it's just consistency is going to be key. Same time every night, just to help. But let me tell you, it could take so long for meds to really get in your system, but you could tell pretty quick. And I could tell pretty quick. I'm like, oh, she put me on the right one. Because that mania went, everything went. And it's really been a lot of smooth sailing. So I hope it's not a pink cloud. You know, like when we hit step 2 in recovery, we're riding that pink cloud like a madman.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, I really hope that's not what I hit here, but I don't think so. I think the whole thing is I'm finally back on meds and the right meds.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about that is you're aware of that pink cloud feeling. You know, the more you can call it out and say, this might be it, the more you can actually process through it and say, no, this is actually the medication's working.
Yeah.
So.
And the pink cloud, it's easy to recognize because Christina's old counseling service was called Pink Cloud Counseling.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
She wanted to do really addiction, mental health and addiction, really what she does now anyway. But it was Pink Cloud Counseling. So that way she could help people navigate what that pink cloud before it burst.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yep. That was back in the day. So let's dive into some step 2.
Step 2.
Step 2 is about finding faith in some higher power. You know, in an NA or NA or AA, it is a power, is a God of your understanding. And the beautiful thing about that is especially for me, it evolved over time. When I first got in to recovery and into the rooms, it was the group. Because being away from my faith, I wanted something tangible and something I could see. And it was something greater than me, you know. When we talk about higher power, I think a lot of people just immediately go to Jesus Christ or God.
As they should, but
but you understand what I'm saying,
yeah.
right? And a lot of people who are just angry at religion, you know, fairly so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So to be able to go into something with, okay, I'm going to make it of my understanding.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing, and I think that that's something that kind of, there's a stigma about AA and NA that it's, we called it culty, or it's like it's only about religion. First of all, it's not about religion. It's about spirituality.
All of it should be, yes.
You know what? Yeah. So, transitioning from it being the rooms to being the people in the rooms to getting back into my faith and getting back in a relationship with Jesus Christ, that worked for me. That's not going to work for everybody else, but to each their own, whatever keeps you sober.
Yeah, and I started mine in NA. Well, actually AA, then into NA, really. And that's where I got mine, because I was mad at God, right? Really, I was mad at me and not forgiving myself, but I was mad at God. And the good thing is God's okay with that. His shoulders are pretty big, I would say. He carries the whole universe. So
I think he could take it.
Yeah, I think he could handle it. The neat thing about when we're mad at God, at least we believe in God. You can't be mad at something that you don't believe in.
That is true.
And that's the cool thing about it.
I kind of went the other way with that, though. I started in having a spiritual upbringing and that growing up. I knew there was a God. I knew he existed, even if I was mad at him or not. So I thought the only answer that I had to my recovery was going to the God that I knew, not of my understanding, but the one that I knew of. Mm-hmm. So I went to Celebrate Recovery. And I think I got a little too prideful in my recovery, going to just Celebrate Recovery. But it was not long after we had your interview on the podcast that I started going to AA meetings.
Okay.
And I got to understanding what you meant when you were saying that higher power was those groups, those rooms and stuff. And I'm like, I can see that for somebody who doesn't know Christ and doesn't know that part of, the recovery part of that part of the recovery or whatever. I can see it, that, they're giving their faith into something. They're learning faith. Even if it is into that room, they had the faith that in that room, somebody's going to be in there to help them out with whatever they're going through at that particular time. And that's usually how it is. Mm-hmm. So as they're working on that faith and building their faith, the time comes, like yourself, where you start bringing your faith back into the true higher power of Jesus Christ, which is awesome.
Well put. Yeah.
No, thank you.
It's we call faith, hope, whatever it may be,
Whatever you need at that moment.
Exactly.
I want everybody to know Jesus. That's why we do what we do. We want everybody to know Jesus. But I'll say it now, and I say it all the time. Our job is to love. Holy Spirit's job to convict.
Right.
We could love them to Jesus, or we could push them away, throwing all the things at them. So just love them. I don't care where they're at. And I've said it a ton. Just have something greater than you. That's it. No matter what it is at the moment. Yeah. Hopefully it will grow into Jesus. Hopefully you turn around and you say, hey, there's only one true God. But whatever you need in the moment.
So we were talking about the hope factor.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is, as long as there is some hope. Also, keeping that faith or hope, even when things get tough or even when you get knocked down. That was really, really hard for me. It's easy to lose faith.
Unfortunately, it's easier to lose it than it is to gain it half the time.
Right. So when things don't go our way or my way, first of all, I had to give it up. I can only do what I can do. I can only control what I can control. But I also have to reach out to the people that I know have hope and have that faith that they can instill more in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing I like about CR is they break them down into lessons, like, right, for us in the step study books.
Yeah.
So lesson 3 is hope. Part of the steps has hope in it, right? Mm-hmm. So earnestly believe. We have steps and principles in Celebrate Recovery, because I covered that the first week, and I think you covered it again.
Yeah.
So principle 2 says, earnestly believe that God exists, that I matter to him, and that he has the power to help me recover. Happy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted, Matthew 5:4. And then your scripture, Philippians 2:13, went with step 2, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his, and to fulfill his good purpose. So it's nice when dealing with hope for once.
Yeah.
But did you have a lot of hope at step 2? Do you remember?
I was starting to get it. when I got into recovery, when I went into treatment, I was really dead set on, I was done. I was done using, I was done drinking. And when I got in there was so many staff members that were in recovery that I immediately started getting hopeful, and I didn't have any when I went in. I had zero hope. I mean, most of the people that get close to killing themselves lose hope.
I would say we're not hopeful.
Yeah.
If we're thinking that way.
Yeah.
We're a little hopeless.
Hopeless.
Sure,
helpless, hopeless, all you want to, yeah. So when I went through treatment, I found hope again, and Jeremy's not here right now, but he'll be here in a couple weeks. And he's funny because he didn't like me when I was in treatment because I think I reminded him of himself. And
yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah. So, but like seeing him and where his, because he told his story and my story is like, our stories are so similar. It's silly. I was like, if that guy can do it, I think I can too, and he's 4 months ahead of me, around 4 months ahead of me. So
yeah, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard somebody talking about those statistics earlier, and they still use them when talking to addicts, the one that they hit us with. Look around the room, 1 in the 35 that's in here might make it. And
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't either. Unless you're competitive. Like I was a competitive one, so I said nah to the rest of them.
Yeah.
But, because then I'm not full of hope.
Mm-hmm.
So in treatment, it was hard to say I had a whole lot of hope.
Yeah. I get that.
I barely knew who I was.
I think the only hope I had at getting good treatment was I hope I don't screw this up.
And then it's too easy to screw up.
And it's very easy. But, sometimes that's all people have.
Yeah. I mean, it worked.
They're just hoping to get inside the door.
I guess I never shared a lot of my hope, but there was a lot of things that I would hope that one day would come, and they have happened. And so it's like, that's something my recovery has brought to me in my walk with Christ is that, when I do feel a certain way about something and I'm hoping that this happens, more than likely it's usually going to happen. So it's worth hoping for, That's
praying for.
And praying for, yes.
But also working towards.
Yes.
It's not, I always had a problem when I was younger with my faith about just like blind faith. I had a really, and I still a lot of times have a problem with that. But I wasn't taking any steps to get where I wanted to get, So therefore, me not working towards it made me think, well, it's not possible.
Right.
So having hope and having faith and finding that again, but also taking certain steps to work towards your goals is huge.
It is. So how does one, at the beginning of recovery, because that's who we're going to talk to right now, right? Those people looking to find hope. Where can they find hope? How do they find hope? How do they finally get a little hope?
A higher power.
A higher power.
For me, I think it's listening to the people that came before. That was my biggest thing. And anybody who listens to this, who is still, because we do have clients that listen to our show. For everybody listening to this show, find somebody that has done where you've been before and who you have seen crawl out of that. And it's very hard to do in treatment, but there's a lot of speakers that come. There's a lot of people that come. Latch on to those people who have that.
I know I've been called a lot from different places to say, hey, do you got room to sponsor people? I think somebody's having a party in the house tonight.
It would appear so. So much for being quiet.
Right, yeah. It's a hard thing to do.
We'll leave it.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm not messing with that.
Thanks, everyone.
I have hope that the people on the other end watching this is not going to mind a quick little boom, boom.
No, I doubt it.
So find somebody that's come before you that's done it. Listen to them. Take the suggestions.
Yeah, that's huge.
I know that's really hard for people to do. Take suggestions. You ain't going to tell me what to do. No, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what worked for me.
Yeah.
This worked for me, and it might work for you if you try it.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like, we try to help every single person, but we're fighting a losing battle in treatment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going in and be like, okay, let's really be honest. You know, some people are going to take the suggestions and they'll probably be successful. So like when I'm leading in groups and whatnot, I'm like, guys, the only reason I'm saying these things is because I did exactly what I was told when I was in treatment. I did literally everything I was told, and look at me, I'm still sober.
Right.
So you did everything you were told. Did you do everything you were told when you were in treatment?
Yes, I believe I did.
Did you stay sober?
I have stayed sober. And my favorite share when I was leading groups was, I'm only teaching you this because it's worked for me.
Yeah.
And it worked for me because I learned from somebody that it worked for them, who had learned from somebody that it worked for them,
Yeah.
and so on and so on and so on.
Right.
If it's helped out this line of people, give it a shot. What do you got to lose? A couple of days out of your life? You gave that up when you were using.
Yeah.
You had to follow.
So, you know,
Straight up.
straight up.
Yeah. Did you when you went in, Shane? Did you follow
Everything that they suggested, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way down to when you leave treatment, go straight to a meeting. Don't go home. Don't do anything. Go straight to a meeting. So when I left Centerpoint that day, good, easy plug for them. That I don't really send too many people to them anymore. I used to. But when I left treatment that day, I went straight to a meeting.
Yeah.
Now, when I walked into the meeting, he was still setting up, and I asked if he needed help, and he's like, no, because I'm pretty much done now. So come back in 20 minutes, and then some people be here, and we'll all fellowship. And so then I ran and grabbed a bite to eat, ran back, froze my butt off, and it was May too, man. But coming down, I was...
Yeah.
Think about it, 21 days, 28 days sober, whatever I was when I finally got out of treatment. I think 28 days I stayed. And so I was still really new. I had a hoodie on, and it's hot outside in the middle of May whenever I got out. And I just remember I could only put this much coffee, like 3 inches, 4 inches of coffee in my cup. Otherwise, I'd shake it out because I still had the shakes really bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, everything that they said.
Yeah. I did. I went straight to IOP. Luckily, I had Joe, who was a former alumni coordinator, talking with my parents and whatnot. And I actually did get a ride out to Kirkwood, from Eolia. It's not a short drive, but...
it's a pretty short drive.
I mean...
hour and a half later.
Yeah, are you being facetious? Because I don't know where you're going, but he's like, I'll take you out to IOP and then can pick you up from there.
Yeah.
On my discharge date, it was March 8th. I remember it to this day. So I went straight to IOP.
You see, and I didn't have IOP yet. Mine was Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, not Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I did my IOP. They said 90 meetings in 90 days, so I did 150.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have to go to work. Citibank let me take all this extra time off and said, here, go. So I just worked. I just worked my recovery.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the greatest things at the beginning. If you will work your recovery super hard at the beginning and lay such a good foundation, hang out with some people that have some clean time, and there's a good chance you can stay clean. Hang out with newcomers, stay a newcomer.
I think that's where your hope really gets built up at, though, is the work that you put into your recovery. The more work you put in, the more hope that you have that things are just going to get better because they do.
Yeah. It's crazy, too, because, those promises start coming true.
Yes.
I was with a client today, and, he's a business owner, owns a couple of businesses, and I started saying, you get out what you put in. He goes, that with anything,
Yeah.
You get out what you put in. If you want to work your butt off for your recovery, you're going to get tenfold back.
And just like in life, if you work your butt off, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And it depends how you define success. I mean, but you will be successful in that career field if you're going to work your butt off, if you'll take the time. Same in recovery.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later this year, but prosperity without riches.
Yeah.
Or outside of riches. Yeah.
Well, that one sound fun.
Looking forward to it.
I love that life.
Yeah.
I love that life. I walked away from the other side of things. But so to find hope, higher power, find some people that have come before you, hang out with them. I mean, hang out with some people that have some clean time.
Do the work.
Put in some hard work. The hardest, easiest thing you've ever done in your life.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know any other way to look at it. It's the hardest, easiest thing you've ever done in your life.
Mine was giving myself over to Christ. Easy to do, but I made it so hard trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this recovery is the hardest, easiest thing, because it is the easiest thing in the world, really. It truly is the easiest thing to do. But yet, it's the hardest thing to do.
It is.
You got to dig deep. You got to.
Yeah. We'll get to that in April.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to wait until April. But what else on hope? I mean, what else on step 2? Because we're going to dive into more later for sure.
We're reading, but it says, developing humility and restoring hope. So being humble in the fact that I can't do this on my own. I need to turn this over to someone else, something else.
I'm not God, there is a God.
I'm not God, there is a God.
Now, you guys say it a different way.
Sanity.
Well, no, I'm saying instead of, I want you to go into sanity, but you said it at the beginning. I always use, I'm not God, there is a God, I need God.
I can't, he can, so I let him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep.
I can't, he can. So he definitely can.
So I let him.
He can and will.
So coming to that humbling fact of, and it's kind of cool because, when you say I can't do it alone, there's a lot of people just like you. So I always say that, like, in recovery, you never have to be alone again.
Never do.
Ever. Granted.
Matter of fact, you're not supposed to be alone.
You're not supposed to be alone. I'd say that to the newcomers too. Make sure you find that tribe. But finding that humility and really owning that humility, letting go of your pride and your ego and all those things that kind of come up with us in ourselves, even without substances. Pride and ego is a killer.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to be talking about that probably not next week, because next week we have a kick butt show coming up.
Yes, we do.
With all the women coming on with us, the wives, the fiancés, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be an amazing show. So the week after, we're going to talk about humility.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. What were you going to say on sanity?
What were we just talking about? But
Step 2. So for Celebrate Recovery, the second part of that lesson is sanity.
Sanity, yeah. Having that hope and working your recovery, you find yourself in a set of sanity. And I wanted to share just the other day, man, I hit a pothole on the highway, flattened my tire, it blew out. I threw the spare on, I still went to work. The next day, I went to go get 2 brand new tires for the front of my car. Cost me over $400. There was a time in my addiction, I'd have went nuts. I'd have tore that store up. Talking about, you ain't charging me no $400. And then I probably would have went to the junkyard and grabbed some off another vehicle.
I was about to say, he wouldn't have had the $400 to pay
I
for
would
the
not.
tire.
I would not have.
Straight up, yeah.
But, and even with me having the $400 to pay, that felt good for a second, but there was still $400. But I was able to keep my sanity and understand, at least I had $400 to spend on tires.
Yeah.
There was a time I would have never had that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
and if you did, it wasn't for tires.
No.
Not a chance.
Tires were the last thing.
Yeah.
I'd have robbed spares out of the back of vehicles.
Yeah. Well, just call the highway department because they'll refund that bill.
Really?
Oh, man, I told you last night, baby.
All right, well,
they will refund that bill.
Mm-hmm.
Next week's episode, be sure to share that with my wife.
Yeah, there you go. What else do we have for step 2? Because I know we've been going for a little while.
Yeah. Step 2 is recognizing that there is something greater than yourself when it comes to your recovery. There's something greater than us. If you're not a believer yet, and you find your faith inside those groups, your hope inside those groups, hey, go for it. I back you 100%, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Do it. You come around and finding your faith in Christ, hey, I'm right there with you too. But nonetheless, there is something greater than ourselves. If we were able to do this on our own and be able to handle this, we would not need a 12-step program. So there's got to be something greater than ourselves in order to get us out of to this where we got to go.
Yeah. I think the restoring of sanity means that we get to regroup, recoup, and realize our real potential.
Man, look at all them R's. I love it.
So
Rewired with the
So we're regrouping. We're getting our thoughts and our feelings, kind of under control. We're recouping. We're letting our body heal, which we have damaged time and time again. And then realizing our real potential. We talked about it being helpless or hopeless earlier. Your potential you forget about, you know, like what I could really be and who I could be as a person. I say it all the time. Like, I didn't know how to be a man. Like, I really didn't.
Most don't, yeah.
Until I got into recovery, and then I could work off of other people and say, I like that and I like that and I like that. But I had the choice to be the man that I am today, and I get that choice every single day. I didn't have that choice in the past.
You forgot an R. Step 2, there's a lot to do with reclaiming hope.
Reclaim.
There it is.
Well, I couldn't they hit me, dude. I could not let that one go. I had to share that.
So
reclaiming hope.
Regrouping, recouping, realizing our potential, and reclaiming hope.
Yes.
I like that.
I do too. I like the sanity part, because sanity, the acrostic says strength, and then acceptance, which is rough, but then new life.
Yes.
See, and that's what we're all hoping for, is that new life. It says we discover that we have an opportunity for a second chance. We do not have to live by our old ways any longer. 2 Corinthians 5:17. When someone becomes a Christian, he becomes a brand new person inside. He is not the same anymore. A new life has begun. I don't know, man. I needed that new life.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to find hope. I don't know how often I ever had hope, but reclaiming hope was a big piece of that.
Before we celebrate recovery, the only hope was I hope I could cop before I get caught,
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
Derek said I didn't want to go back.
No.
Any final words for that newcomer? Since we never use that language.
Yeah, we don't.
Any final words for that addict still suffering?
If you made it past step 1, you're stepping out of the denial, look for that hope. Get into those groups, meet people, surround yourself with them. Listen to what they have to say. You really got nothing to lose.
We'll refund your misery.
There you go. So,
You trying to find you something, Mikey?
I got something. I actually got the step 2 prayer from the big book.
Good. Let's do it.
Step 2 prayer from the big book is, relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and the way of life. May I do thy will always.
Scripture tells us, hang with the wise, become wise. Hang with the fools, you will suffer harm.
mm-hmm.
Hang with newcomers, you stay a newcomer. Find somebody with some wisdom, some clean time, and hang with them, and you will not suffer harm. That I could promise.
True story.
100%, man.
Solomon was a wise man.
Yes, he was.
He was a wise man, a lot wiser than what we are today.
True, but even for a wise man, that gentleman has some issues.
Well, everybody has issues.
Yeah, I mean, come on. No one's
That's
infallible.
why everybody needs recovery. There's not a single person in this world that don't need some kind of recovery.
I think it's really cool, too. Like, when you get into recovery from substances, you recover way more than just getting sober. Like, I think, and I tell this to people all the time, it's like only, like, the substance is this much, but, addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one saying.
Across the entire spectrum of your life, things will get better if you just simply find hope, find those people, find that tribe.
And you're about to find that out when we bring all the ladies
on,
in.
yeah.
Yes, you will.
Wives with us, because
I actually found a girl that wants to be with me. It's weird.
yeah.
But like saying I learned from an old bearded wonder,
Yeah.
sobriety is only 5 to maybe 10% of your actual true recovery. Recovery is true life change.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If that's what you want, recovery's got it.
Yes.
No matter what you struggle with, man.
And it's free.
It is free.
And if you're looking for something to have hope in that. You work your recovery.
Your life will change.
Life will change, yes.
Yeah, and you're going to be a happy, hopeful son of a gun.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, we will.
I had to use that word. What can I say?
I
Son of a gun.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's one of those things, like, everyone in this room, we wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't believe in it.
No.
Right.
We're not just saying stuff to blow smoke. This is things that we live our lives by.
Why would we be here Why would I suffer the frustration of editing a podcast?
I don't know. You wouldn't.
There's no way if this wasn't real. I mean, and you could do it. If these three schmucks sitting in this thing, and including Jeremy is our fourth, if we can do it, anybody could do it.
No doubt.
And on next week's podcast, we'll be able to show you how the women in our lives, what they had to do in order to work our recovery as well.
Well, to work their recovery.
They work their recovery. I'll explain it more when we get to it next week. But hey, on that note,
like, share, subscribe, any of that stuff?
Like, share, subscribe. We're on every podcast platform.
Thanks again to Tactile Turn.
Yes.
Bang, bang.
Love these pens. They're awesome. They're great.
Go get you one.
All right. Now with that, from the Awaken Sober podcast, Mike, I like you saying that. God bless you guys. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.
Amen. See you next week.
Peace.